a seat to the bar and join us for another episode of McAnally's Pubcast, a podcast exploring the fun and fantastical mind of Jim Butcher's The Dresden Files series. Hosts Tansen, Jess, and Maggie bring you another round of literary analysis on this immense, immersive, and colorful environment inhabited by Harry Dresden, the world's only licensed private investigator and professional wizard. Join an active and engaged community of new and die-hard dedicated fans focused on the fabulous themes, theories, characters, context, lore, and more. This is McAnally's Dresden Files Pubcast, brought to you by Free Flow Rambling. Conjure by it at your own risk. Welcome to the McAnally's Pubcast, brought to you by Free Flow Rambling. This is episode 10.15, Unlucky Number 99, where we are covering the novel Death Masks. My name is Tansen, and I am joined by Maggie.
Hello, hello.
And Jess.
What is up?
Hey, hey.
This is episode 99.
Oh.
And our alleged...
It is 2:30 a.m. It is the fourth try to film and speak about this specific chapter.
Right. We went out drinking.
We saw
the D&D
pub,
movie.
we saw the D&D movie. We've been to karaoke. Now we're going to do our job, and we're going to finally talk about chapter 17 and get an audio.
But don't say we're going to finally talk about it. We have talked about it.
We are going to get proof that we have talked about it.
Yes.
For the fourth
We are going to get our
and
final
final
cut.
time.
There are...
And if it doesn't work,
it doesn't
I don't
work.
care.
I'm not
gonna make
talking
it work.
about this
Just
anymore.
skip chapter 17.
I'm tired of 17.
You guys will just get like a mishmash of
all the
interesting.
attempts.
When we were first trying to figure out what we wanted to do with this podcast, we disagreed a lot on like the direction and like what exactly we wanted to focus on, right? And we redid episode 1 like a million times, but not just about the same talking points. Like we was like, why are we even talking about this to begin with? It's like we shouldn't go there yet, right?
Well,
so we even
practice,
like cut a lot of ideas, and we were getting frustrated with each other.
Technical
And it's like
difficulties.
I don't want to hear about how you got introduced to the Dresden Files
more
anymore.
time.
I'm tired of it. I've heard it.
This
story.
is worse.
Right?
This
And
one is
now,
worse.
now I'm like,
Episode
Jesus
Unlucky
Christ.
99.
There's
Maybe it should be called that instead of Taverncast. Is just
Unlucky 99 maybe, because like there's not enough meat in this chapter to have kept it interesting 4 times, honestly, okay?
And I
I didn't
with
mind
this.
it the first time. But now I'm like, what, fucking do something.
Well, and that's the thing, right? When you find a point to talk about, but then once you've talked about it,
you're like, who cares?
you don't remember,
Why
you don't
talk
want to
about
go
it
back.
again?
Yeah, or it sounds funny trying to make that sound new again when you're like, oh,
Right. Here we go.
I'm drinking wine out of a very large mug.
Right. This is supposedly our drunk episode.
Since we're already halfway there. Figured we'd commit.
We're going to try.
I hit my super shiny spot right before I sang my last song, where I was like, "Oh God, this could be tragic."
And all that jazz.
And then I recovered. It's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you lived. You made it.
And now you guys are like,
Yeah.
you're more tired than actually moving.
Tired. This is late for me. Also, drinking at the bar is really expensive, so it's hard to muster up a lot
Well,
of
that's why I
enthusiasm.
took us to a really cheap
Yeah, which helps.
corner of the whole.
Shady.
Yeah.
Seedy.
Shady.
Right.
Yeah.
Worked
was a
out
good
well.
time,
It
though.
worked out well. Yeah.
There was only a couple of people that I was like,
People, if you choose to go to karaoke and you can't sing, that's fine. Go ahead, get up there. Do not continually sing the same song over and over and over. Evanescence.
Oh,
I
same
like
artist.
Evanescence.
Oh, right.
I not so much anymore. All they sang was Evanescence every time they went up, and they were terrible.
They just submitted the whole album.
terrible, terrible singers. And Evanescence has a
That's
lot
not
of
an easy sing.
slow. But
I
that's
don't
High
do
pitched though.
yeah, like just
It would have been okay with one song, but it was
would have
like,
been okay
you know,
with
3,
one song.
4.
Yeah, I swear
5
there was like
songs.
4 or 5 that. Yeah, it was just like and the rotation got a little bigger towards the end, but it wasn't that big to start.
Yeah. It was
So
doubling back
you know,
on people really
every
fast.
4th, 5th song. What?
Are we going to take some of those recordings and do little snippets?
There was exactly one recording, and it's of you. So.
No.
If-
she got one of you.
Oh yeah, right. That's deleted. Ignore that forever.
she
it's
almost
so good.
tried to. I know she's.
Just a little snippet.
You were a little.
And
I
you
don't think
said
it's
you
good.
might actually try. We can do that tomorrow. We can do the recording of the
yeah,
music theater patter song.
That one I'm not nearly as anxious about.
Really? Because you know what? You really, really, really did amazingly on that one. Like
I was
I
gonna
was
say-
so proud of you.
Yeah, I know you don't think you did, but I mean, yeah, you're not maybe like a singer, and no offense, I'm not gonna pay like Rihanna money to go see you. That's a fact.
My own mother.
But
No.
karaoke,
You've got
you
it. You've
did
got charisma.
I know, but
for that song, you had very much charisma.
doesn't need to be.
yes,
You were committed to it.
There doesn't
You
need
felt
to be
confident.
proof of that, though.
And you did. The bar liked it. The bar had fun. Like it was a good peppy song.
I watched all the
Those that
people
did-
watching
yeah.
it. They were like totally into it. They've never heard the song, and they were like, yes.
So it definitely was, and again, right, it was better that I would have rather, in all honesty, listened to you do an Evanescence song tonight compared to what,
I was hoping you were going to do more than one.
yeah.
I only know one song.
You know
Yeah.
more
It's
than
my
that.
one and only
You're just-
karaoke song.
Well,
I don't have any more.
but
than
you did
that.
it well.
song.
For your one and only, you did better than
anyways.
half of the people that sang tonight. So,
And people will continue to believe that as long as there's no proof to the contrary.
yeah, well, proof of the contrary or not,
send me.
you absolutely did better than half of the
No.
people tonight. Now,
That's not the point.
I'm not going to lie. If you and Tamsin went head to head in a singing contest, Tamsin would smoke you. She has a bigger
Never my
repertoire.
goal.
She has training. She has all kinds of.
I spent $40,000.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I
You
didn't.
know-
I had an in-state and out-of-state
You know-
waiver, but whatever.
We ran out of episodes before we were able to post a Chapter 17 one. But luckily, we had like an hour of us just bullshitting around. And that's what this is going to turn into if you keep trying to convince me that my karaoke was good.
That's true. We're at 6 minutes. We're good.
Yeah. We got lots of time still. But yeah, it was, yeah. Like
Yeah,
I
you
say.
did good.
you
You
did
did
good.
Anyways.
Yeah, it was perfectly acceptable.
So welcome to our drunk episode, supposedly, allegedly.
Allegedly. We'll see how this goes.
I might just have to stop these two every like 20 minutes.
Just take a shot.
minutes. 10 minutes for shots. Can you make the gulp sound again?
Just a couple in the beginning, because then once they hit those, that's,
Right.
Yeah, you only need those first
You
couple.
don't need 6.
You don't need.
Lesson learned. I'm
In
sorry.
5 minutes. 6 is okay, not in
Not-
6 minutes.
I did
Yeah.
take one of those last time.
You're a saint.
Well, we all had a couple of them, but she had like a dozen to like our 2.
By the
It
way,
was my birthday.
One of our attempts, I did accidentally try to kill Jess. Didn't mean to.
No.
It was magical.
close.
She's such a fucking trooper. You are a fucking trooper.
I'm a cool person. That's well
right.
established.
We want to send a special shout out and thank you to Heather for buying us a pint on Patreon. By supporting us at this level, Heather now has exclusive access to episode outtakes, our special Discord community, and even our official sticker. A huge thank you to Heather for all of the support. If you'd also like to grab us a pitcher, pint, or a sampler to get loads of fun perks and exclusive merchandise, check us out on our Patreon channel today. Chapter 17. Harry and Shiro arrive at McAnallys to begin discussions for the duel. Shiro and Thomas Raith speak to Kincaid, who is acting as Ivy's proxy. Dresden makes an appeal to Ortega to find a way to make peace instead of dueling, and Ortega counters with an offer to make Harry a vampire under his protection. Harry refuses the offer, and the duel will continue. Happy 100th episode celebration! As we briefly mentioned, our 100th episode is upon us, and we are insanely proud of ourselves. To celebrate, we want to send out some merch to a few lucky random listeners. All you've got to do to enter is follow us on Twitter at McAnally Pubcast or Instagram at McAnallys Pubcast and like the giveaway post. It's super simple because we just want to say thank you so much for giving us a reason to do these last 100 episodes and a reason to do 100 more. So if you're interested in a thematic McAnallys limited edition mug, make sure to go track down one or both of these posts. Simultaneously, we will be running a giveaway in our Discord. Everyone that's been active in the Discord for the last 100 days is already automatically entered in the drawing. If you'd like to be entered as well, you have the rest of April to participate in the chats on Discord, even if it's just to say hello. You can find a link on our Discord on our website at McAnallys.ca. And finally, those of you in our Patreon automatically have an additional entry for something extra special. If you haven't signed up for our Patreon, it's not too late to get in on that chance for something fabulous. Find us on our Patreon at Free Flow Rambling. That's a total of 4 giveaways. all of which are open worldwide, so click that button, interact in the Discord, or sign up for Patreon. And just plain listen to the new episodes. With lots of love from Maggie, me, Tanzan, and Jess. You have until April 30th, when we will announce the winners during our May 5th episode. Good luck!
So, Jessica, do we love the fleece line jacket? Or do we love the fleece line denim jacket?
We hate the fleece line denim jacket. We hate it a lot.
I'm not fans. It's so hard to picture
it's
him.
Just like Harry in a jean jacket is wrong.
And it's
so
like,
wrong.
I picture it at the start of the chapter.
Was it fleece lined? I thought it was just a
It's a heavy denim jacket, yeah.
It's February.
It's Montana.
It's a fleece-lined leather. It is a fleece-lined denim jacket.
It's like full-on cowboy.
It's full on.
Jacket.
Well, and this is just thing.
Like,
Like,
I think he actually has his cowboy boots this one.
I can imagine him in his jeans and his cowboy boots, no problem. But a jean jacket is like where I draw the line. I'm like, fantasy,
Especially
ruined.
because he does black jeans a lot too, right? So it's like super easy with the black leather duster and the black cowboy boots and all that.
But the immersion is ruined for me once he puts on a jean jacket.
Yeah, because now he's got to put on the blue jean jacket, so he's got to be wearing like blue jeans, and then it's funny. I picture it like when they say it, and then like I'm pretty sure, you know, by the next paragraph when they're describing whatever else, my mind movie has gone back in his leather duster. I guess it's like, oh yeah, he's supposed to be. Yeah, I just can't. Your mind just cannot overrate that. But again, with my friend, because he does wear a fleece leather jacket a lot, and he does always wear. He doesn't wear black jeans or anything. So it's the other side of it is every time I have to flip to that, I'm just picturing my buddy as Dresden, and then apparently we have to drink again according to Tanzan. Cheers.
Okay, so my major issue with this is that in chapter 14, to be frank, Mr. Dresden, I did bring To be frank, Mr. Dresden, I did bring a few threads with me from the Vatican, but great, get one of them to my office and drop it off with the security downstairs. They'll hold it for me until I can pick it up. That's chapter 14. Then, you go all the way to chapter 17, and Harry's all like, all he gave me was a couple of threads. That's almost bullshit to do anything.
Right.
And it's like, okay, bitch, that's exactly what you asked for. We're
Okay.
told that you had the option of, and then requested.
But he did get a couple. In the exact center of the case was a single dirty white thread about 2 inches long. So he didn't even get a couple of threads.
Right,
He got one itty bitty thread. So
I can see why I'd be disappointed with just one.
he was hoping to get at least 2 or 3. Like, come on.
Still, though, like, dude.
One.
it's a shroud.
Do I look like a one thread kind of guy? What kind of magic you want me to do here? Huh? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Actually, you were just pissed that it ended up at the office in the first place. Which made a certain amount of sense. Wasn't it supposed to be the first meeting?
No.
What's your issue with...
It's fine that he sent it to the office. I'm okay with that. Like, I get why he wouldn't
like,
have Harry's address.
I don't want this creepy exorcist priest guy knowing where I live, okay? Just drop it at the office.
Obviously, Vincent didn't like meeting up with him in person enough times, and there's no reason.
The one and only time he met up with him in person, the studio exploded and he got shot at. Like, you know
Fair.
what?
Okay,
Yeah,
fine.
okay.
But you know what? That happens to, like, everyone Dresden meets, and not all of them just don't want to hang out with him anymore.
But do you know how many people are not recurring characters?
Secondary to that, like, I also understand that, like, Harry's not always home. At least the security should always be at the office to collect packages, right?
Exactamundo.
I'm okay with that as well. Fine, whatever.
That's what security's there for.
It's just
You're there to
security,
collect the
like,
packages.
who doesn't recognize Harry. And it's like, who else looks like this tall, intimidating guy? But the security probably was like,
no
leather
jacket.
duster? The only thing I remember about the other guy was the leather duster. Like,
Right.
even for me, like, you've got a customer you see every single day, and then they get a haircut, and you're like, are you that guy?
I was literally going to say with another friend that joined us tonight, and she just didn't have her jacket on at the table, obviously, because we were indoors, but she kind of had like the little scarfy thing going. But then when she'd go outside, right, and I swear every time she walked in, I was like, oh, yeah, that's it was like the jacket, which actually was a black leather jacket, but
With and without jacket was a whole new person.
Yeah, because, well, I
This is
don't...
why Clark Kent Superman. It actually is a thing.
Yeah.
Also,
Well,
Mom's just extremely face blind.
I'm not actually... I was going to say it's a little bit out of context, too, because we hung out with her a lot here because we know her through Tanzan. So we've met and seen her here a lot. We haven't gone out on other occasions to socialize a lot, so it's not like I'm used to seeing her out and being like, oh, I can recognize Amber in her jacket, you know?
They let you out of the basement? I didn't know you existed outside of the basement.
I know, yeah, exactly, right? Like, sometimes it's just that, you know? It's like, oh, yeah, you look different every time you...
Still, though, it's a little bit comical that the security was like...
Right.
And
Unless, like, even, like, okay...
Maybe he's been wearing his disguises, like he's in a pizza delivery, or like a flower guy.
I will say, though, like...
Who the hell's this flower guy?
Right?
I mean, I'm going to assume that this is common in a lot of countries, but I can only speak on Canada. A lot of our security guards are, like, almost like through a temp agency in a way. Like, they're not
You may
assigned
not
a
have the
specific
same
building.
guy all the
Every
time.
night you get a new guy sometimes, right? So it could be one of those things where, like, security's not always the same. It's just like, you got the keys for tonight's shift, and now you're being given packages that have nothing but a single piece of string in it. Not that he would know that.
Well, exactly,
yeah,
because
right.
it isn't an envelope
Yeah,
that he
no.
opens, so he doesn't even know.
It
He
just
just comes
obviously
to pick
just
up
feel
his
like a letter,
thing, and
but-
the guy's like...
And it's just a little bit funny to me, like...
Right? Like, again, right? I'm like, if you're just security, you come up and you're like, I need a package, right? You know, it's like, show me your license.
Yeah, show me
and-
your ID, right?
Yeah, you'd
But,
be
like-
all right. Because I was going to say, it's not even like, because again, we know that he's on his way to go, like, so he was at Charity's house at like 3 o'clock, and they got to be to meet up at like 7 or 8 o'clock or whatever, right? So I'm like, it's not even like he's there at 2 in the morning, and so night security is like, you never come in at 2 a.m. and get, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
we've already decided we're between 4 and 7 o'clock. Like,
Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's like, theoretically, Harry does hold normal business hours on occasion, so you'd think, like, again,
But
right,
yeah, you
if
should
this-
also have access to your own office whenever the hell you want it, even if it is, well, maybe not 2 a.m. Maybe, like, if you don't own the
Places
whole
do. They'll give you a
building.
key card. If
I was going to say,
Exactly,
yeah,
right,
it's
and I was
your office. you
I could
can-
understand maybe if, like, the whole place, like, shuts down, like, they don't expect people to be wandering around that late at night. But then again, whenever you watch TV, like, the one, like, lowly lawyer is there until 4 a.m. all by themselves, and the janitor turns the light off on them.
I will say, anywhere I've been a key holder, I can get into it
Yeah.
any time of day, right?
my-
So
my
exactly,
workplace,
if you,
if we wanted to go there right now, we could.
yeah, exactly,
Why?
right?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Steal shit.
go see if they have pizza.
That's the only reason you need to go to your job in the middle
Do
of
you
the
have
day.
a security guard there? Can we show up and be like, excuse me,
We
did
can
anybody
steal
drop
all
off
the
a pack?
toilet
Could we get
paper
some
from
mail? Is that
Indian-
suspicious? We're trying to test a theory.
Hey, don't joke, man. I'll take free toilet paper, okay?
They don't lock that shit up, man.
The only other
My boss
thing...
gets so mad at work when people come up and I'm like, I do get
I mean, they're
it.
industrial rolls, but usually it's just the little nubs that the janitor like puts to the side.
Right, right.
And sometimes I have actually taken them.
Get through,
But
yeah.
it is kind of fun because we just have regular. She doesn't buy the industrial advertising, but it's honestly hilarious sometimes. Like paint pens and like it's just like, you guys need it again. Somebody just came and got some. Like, I get this is expensive people go through, but it's also so funny like the way she's like just so very strict sometimes. And I'm like, really, the paint pens are like what's super expensive over here? She's like, I already gave you one this month. It's funny, she will like engrave people's initials on them. She'll etch them in.
And the only thing that I can, like, honestly give any, like, credence and credit to is that it's just Jim being a dick to his character when he's just like, I need another problem for him. Security doesn't like him.
He can't just go pick up his mail at the office.
Right?
He's gotta.
It's like it's such
gotta argue.
it's such a Jim thing to do, or to be like,
He's like,
you have an
there's-
office here that you've been paying rent for years at. Everybody knows what you look like. People actively described you perfectly when you just sank a yacht this
I was
morning.
gonna say, I was like random.
But the security in the building where you pay rent and have an office, and presumably when you're not in a life or death situation, should be showing up to at least 5 days a week.
What is this? What is
Is
what?
with a place that's like,
He's just very trendy. He's just trying to go by malicious compliance. He's like, oh, I can get you your package, Mr. Dresden, but
do you have your office key and your ID on you?
Have you guys ever seen that drinking game where they tape your drink to your hands so you can actually put it down?
no,
I'm tempted to do this.
I don't drink alcohol is the problem. I don't.
not
Drink.
frequently. Yeah, we have no social lives, and I honestly don't drink that much at home.
I'm a
but-
jerk, sorry.
Yeah,
We promised them a
Why
drunk
we love
episode.
you.
We actually scheduled this.
drinking. I'm drinking. It will start. How much more do you want us to talk about it? Fuck, you totally derailed that train of thought. Yeah.
Move on to your next point. We're done with that.
Yes. Yeah. Jim's just a dick. Okay,
Yeah.
Moving on.
Okay. So Harry picks up Shiro at Michael's house. Shiro lets on that he's vast experience with dueling this way, with and it does include already dueling vampires, that of the Black and the Jade court. He's even dueled Denarians twice, but they cheated. And both okay.
Big shocker. Fucking Denarians. Yeah, so
Shiro's been around the block.
little teaser here. Yeah, the Jade Corps, which has never been mentioned here before. And I mean, they're all super secretive and just stick to Southeast Asia, I get. But I kind of wonder what their shtick is, right? Because we know the blacks are like your basic sort of like Bram Stoker vampires. And the reds are, again, a little bit...
More Anne Ricey, sort of, but not, but creepier.
I'll take your word for it because I never did actually read or watch any of those.
They're a little bit more sexual, but not to the point of white.
Yeah, so the reds
They
are like...
definitely still do the blood thing, but they're a little more like...
Yeah, well, the reds to me are another form of the sort of common pop culture, right? So in this case, in this world, the blacks don't stay young and beautiful. They are just the rotted corpse.
The Nosferatu.
You get that part of it, yeah, stake through the heart, blah, blah, blah. The reds, you get the bat. We can turn into bats, which they don't necessarily turn into bats, but they are these big, flabby bat-like things under the beautiful, sexy flesh mask, and again, just the straight bloodsucker, and you can damage them by puncturing their blood belly and this whole thing, right? And then the whites, which are complete psychic vampires, right? So it's like they're the least...
Emotional, sexual,
right?
Incubus, succubus.
They can be out in daylight, and they...
Well, a lot of this reminds me of have you ever heard Vampire the Masquerade, White Wolf...
You have talked about it. You've talked about it,
right.
And yeah.
And at some point, somebody's gonna like actually get me on my shit to actually look through this and compare it, especially while the vampire stuff is happening.
Is it correct? Don't worry, the vampire they never come back after this book, so you better hurry up.
Crap.
But yeah, so I don't know what the Jade, like, again, he says they're just very, and again, I don't. Well, yeah, and it's like, I don't know, are we going to find out more about them later at some point?
And
or
Harry,
did Butcher just, like, be like, I don't really know what to do, I'm just going to, because he's given us absolutely nothing about, yeah.
And that's the other problem, too, is that Harry's like, the
Harry
most
doesn't
curious
fucking
guy in the world, wants to know about everything.
He
doesn't let anything
with the fucking security
doesn't
guy.
let anything go ever. But in this moment, he's just like, yeah, sorry, I got 15 people who like
want to
specifically booked my killings tonight. Like,
yeah.
I do want to ask
Duel,
about this.
I got
but
wars, like
like,
yeah.
I'm on a more strict timeline than usual. I penciled in my deaths tonight. Like,
no, you'd have to pen them in. If it's really strict.
Oh, this is in the early 2000s. I'm not sure the pens were invented yet.
That's why you pencil someone in, because then you can make changes. When you put it in pen, that's when. So if he's committed to these deaths. Have you ever done a crossword puzzle?
No.
It's like, she's looking more vampiric. I don't know if it's the hour or the alcohol, but
Me or Tanzan?
You're getting, I swear, paler by the second as I sit across from you. And just as normal.
2:50 a.m.
It's 2:50 a.m. on a Sunday. I've not been home since 8:30 on a Thursday. I haven't slept since I woke up 8:30 p.m. at Thursday. And for the record, on Thursday, I didn't go to bed until 6 p.m. So I only got 2.5 hours of sleep on that Thursday.
You should be way more drunk by this.
Well, I
didn't even get to feed you the proper
I've been
way.
eating nonstop in all that time instead of sleeping.
Yeah, this is where the vampiric nature comes. She doesn't rely on the alcohol. She just has no blood. So don't worry.
That's true.
She will be.
That's
at least
true.
no iron.
She will be loopy before you know it.
That's true. Does the alcohol affect the white blood cells or the red blood cells? Because if it's white blood cells, I'm basically immune. Clearly.
Because she has no white blood cells to inebriate.
I can't make my own white blood cells, so...
I think it affects your brain function. Well, amongst your liver and your...
Have they tested for Gaucher's disease with you?
What is that word?
I'm pretty sure it's not a thing.
Gaucher's?
Thing your uncles died from.
Oh. Losers. Yeah.
Oh, something's kicking in. Wow.
Wow, they got Gaucher's and died. I've been living for 26 years.
Outlive them!
I'll drink to that.
Fuck that 3-year-old.
Wow.
Were they both 3 when they died?
No, Michael was 3. Joey was only a year and a
I
half.
thought he was a much younger, yeah.
And we're hitting the dark part of the moment.
Yeah, before we
Okay, but to be, on a much more positive note, both of your brothers, Joey and Michael, their names have been reused about 15 more times now, and all of them have lived.
Well, Michael just reused by everybody 50,000 times. We only have one other Joseph, but that's okay.
It's actually your eldest brother's middle name as well, but he was obviously, around before the younger brother died.
It's not my eldest brother's middle name.
Your
but
second.
Thanks for playing.
I don't give a fuck about the order of your stupid siblings. There's too fucking many of you stupid Catholics.
Is this one of of the episodes that I just don't edit at all? I suspect it might be.
I don't know.
Let's not commit to that yet.
You might need to tweak it.
The family stuff is a little bit dark, but
Like, I can go with the
Hilarious.
first comment. Anything after that is getting a little too
that's usually
irreverent.
where I go with it.
Yeah.
Like, So
yeah, I don't know about the jades, but I'm like, is this like a kryptonite weakness or something? Like,
So you skipped over the fact that Shiro is like dressed to the nines for this meeting. Like Shiro, like
especially buzzed.
you know when you play a video game, right, and you unlock outfits, right? It's
Yes.
like you've got your like normal like your like dirty hobo outfit at the beginning of the game. And then eventually you get like your like white robes, your red robes, your like
what kind of video games do you play?
No,
that's
pretty
a
standard,
staple.
yeah.
That's a staple of most video games, right? Like
No, I
not
just think
something
it's
like
funny that you
Skyrim where you
Start
just
off as a hobo. Yes,
No,
I
no,
do
no.
know. I do know what you're
But-
talking about.
not like Skyrim when you just loot bodies, but when you specifically have to unlock character profiles or
I played
outfits
Super
or
Mario,
Like a bunch of
whatever,
shooter
right?
games will do that too, where you win the game and then you unlock an outfit that you could replay the game with, or a
Exactly,
gun
right?
or
And then
something.
when you play online or something, other people are like, "You've got that outfit. You've beat the game. You're so cool and hot and awesome."
This is my DLC.
I
paid money.
I
Well,
played
that's not true.
Super Mario 3. I got the raccoon suit. I know what you're talking about.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So Shiro is in his DLC.
And he's in his DLC, and he looks boss as hell. So it's like,
He's like with the guy, Kung Fu
DLC?
Master, like David. What's his name?
Copperfield.
No,
I don't.
that's Dresden.
no,
No, that's the guy on
the
TV.
Legend of Kung Fu. Oh,
Yeah, who Dresden's name down.
Oh, Carradine.
yes,
That's David. But did you call him Harry?
David something. I just said David.
Oh,
something.
Copperfield. Yeah, Carradine.
You guys jumped in with Copperfield.
Yeah, I know. I was just trying to remember where we went with that.
for that.
Did you see DLC?
We said DLC.
Is that a video game term?
It's like the word for you buy.
Downloaded content.
Oh,
Yeah.
because I was like, isn't that what it's called in the gadget grid thing too?
Yes.
Deluxe loser content or something? What did it stand
That's
for?
exactly what it
So yeah,
was.
that's a play on words. Play on the
Yeah,
concept.
but now I was like, okay. See, I feel connected, people. I know what I'm talking about.
We'll turn you into a gamer eventually.
I wasn't the oldest person in the room earlier. I am still not.
I think you're kind of a gamer. You like dabble.
She dabbles.
I'm the gamer.
I buy the video games and then I don't
And you
touch
put
them.
up with us.
I got very, very excited when Jessica bought the little mini NES reboot thingy and I could play original old school Mario. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
my
she's
level.
good. She's good on the.
Got that. I've got emulators and all the games galore. Like, ask me of any platform you want. I've got all of it.
She's good with anything from the GameCube and earlier.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Original-
Like she
Oh,
beat Luigi's Mansion in our household.
Even that one was a little hard to get used to because it still wasn't the same as original. Original Mario, like 1, 2, 3 or whatever.
Duck Country.
And original PlayStation Pandemonium. And we could when you had it,
Right. Oh no, I
And
have a
it-
PlayStation 3 and you guys
you could download the
Yes.
original game, and I
Right.
was so excited
legacy
because that
one,
was
yeah.
like because it's a lot like, but the super cool thing is that 20 years later, you can just Google all the hacks and things for it, so you don't have to like buy a bunch of shit or remember, but
What
you
was the
can
other one? I
just
think it was
Google like
Drawful.
how do I get unlimited lives? Perfect. Now I can play past 5 minutes.
I think it was Drawful was the other one that you were.
No idea what that is.
She's forgotten about it now.
No, Drawful is not me. I don't know what that is.
I swear that was you guys. Okay.
I don't know.
Unless that stands for something.
Where you draw
but-
something like I never. Yeah.
You play the game, and then if you need a bike, you draw a bike, and then you have a bike in the game?
something like that.
I don't know. Anyways.
I bought it because I thought it was something you guys talked about, but
I do
Maybe.
not remember.
it was on Good Old Games. It's okay.
Yeah.
I got it.
Moving on.
Moving on, yeah.
Pandemonium.
He's in his DLC. He looks super cool. He's wearing his, like, he's fully, like, dressed in the nines
shit.
in his
Kung Fu suit.
Japanese kung fu suit.
So
That is, reminds him of, like, Murphy's Aikido tournaments. So Shiro's here to, like, present an image. Like, he's
Yeah,
here
he's
to
all
represent.
martial. Or is it black with red, or am I just picturing that? Did he tell us what color? Yo, black shirt and white gi jacket and a scarlet cross. That's where I was getting the black and red from. So he's got a black shirt, white jacket, the
Black
red
pants.
cross on it. So, yeah, he's looking. I think
He trimmed all his hair off, like the small
Shaved.
little scrap that he had.
He shaved it.
I don't care, Mom.
well, there's a.
So Dresden tells Shiro that he's considering energy and then will as a second, but Shiro tells him that there's actually a better way, which is to just not fight at all.
Well, yeah, it's because Harry's all kind of freaking out. So this goes, again, part of their conversation of have you ever done this before? And Shiro's like, yeah, right? So he's like, it still sucks, though. He's like, it's still never good. And Dresden's like, well, I certainly was not looking for this fight, right? And yeah, Shiro's just like, okay, well, don't fight him. And Harry's like,
the pacifist.
I'd love to, but... Well, and that's the other thing, too. And Harry's like, that's surprising.
Is it Buddhists that are like the way of the...
I believe, yes. Yeah, don't step on ants and very in the whole just non-violence kind of...
But that's more Chinese philosophy, isn't it, than Japanese?
There's
I
a
don't
lot
remember.
of different Buddhisms, and I don't know.
Drink more.
Buddhism has spread. Well, before Christianity, it
Well,
covered almost all of
this would have been in the 80s.
No, this was
90s?
early 2000s.
2000s. Oh, fuck.
the 80s.
The 80s. Dresden's 10.
Sorry.
Where have you been the last 5 books?
Time blind.
The Twin
Time
Towers
blind.
fell, like,
you guys are the
20
ones
minutes
that are in
ago,
charge of that
like-
shit, not me. Remember, goldfish memory.
I know, but like the 80s and the 2000s is significant.
Like,
If you're picturing 80s Chicago right now,
I don't know. I don't remember much of the 80s to the 2000s.
oh my god, Butcher, what have you done? You put Harry in a jean jacket and Tamsin reverted 20 years?
Sorry, you know what? You know what did it? You know what did it? Is like the talk about the parachute pants.
Oh, yes. Let he who hath not worn parachute pants.
So I
for the
just
first
went,
time. Oh, gotcha. So that was a reference in the book, not when the book is.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I'm useless. It's okay.
That's all right.
what makes this podcast interesting is that I just
you
do
click
stupid
the
shit.
record button, Tanzan. We need that desperately.
She just said.
I did, right? I just checked.
She just made you look.
I'm scared. We've had some really bad misfires. I'm sorry.
Which is why we are on episode 4 of this.
Yeah.
But,
That was, okay,
I kept
admittedly
the
though,
RAM
like,
on my computer from 36 gigabytes to 96 gigabytes. Like, that is ridiculous.
Whatever
And then I've had nothing but problems since I did that.
whatever
Like, what the
corrupted the first file, though, the first attempt at this was, like, that's weird. There's, like, no traceable way of how the fuck we
Right?
did that.
yeah.
It was just,
That was just,
it turned all of our voices into, like, satanic,
Computer.
I
demonic.
basically just half rebuilt my computer to try to, like, compensate to make sure that never happens again.
Yeah, I don't know.
Your
that
computer was
weird.
like, fuck
was
you.
really
And
weird.
this thing is a powerhouse. Like, this is not an old machine. Okay.
Technology hates us.
All right.
But yeah, but basically, yeah, so Shiro's all like, well, just don't fight him. And Harry's like, well, that's really weird. You don't usually hear that recommendation from people that are, like, good at fighting.
Right.
And Shiro's like, maybe I'm good at it, but I don't like it. It's not, I'd always prefer to not fight. Right? So we get a super cute little backstory on Shiro, too. I was like, it is. No, that's after. Damn it.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
That's,
Yeah,
that's,
no.
yeah, not now. But
No.
So yeah, so Shiro's basically like, always fighting is not better. So basically, he's like, we gotta go talk shop. So he's like, you guys are just gonna be hanging out doing nothing. Why don't you see if there's any way Ortega is willing to back down and let you out of this?
Well, he does
And-
open up Dresden's mind to it. He
Yeah.
like, actually does plant the seed.
It might be worth it for Harry to try, but I'm still at the point of, it's like, if you know that Ortega's gonna be there, and you're bringing Harry there, what is the point of the seconds? If Harry and Ortega can just sit down and have a conversation with each other? Because generally the idea of the seconds is like, they cannot be in the same room as each other, they're gonna kill each other.
Yeah, actually, I don't really
Right?
understand
And this
the
whole
point of
thing
the
is like,
seconds.
I
So-
get the whole, like, well, it's just tradition, the seconds always
Yeah.
have to, but it just seems a little bit like...
if the first two don't fight, then the seconds have to? Is that what the
Well,
the point
there
of the
is
seconds
that.
are?
So-
Like, I don't get it.
the 10
Essentially, what we have here
Number 1
is a plot device for what will later occur during the duel.
So okay, you're right.
It's great that I don't remember shit.
Yeah.
I know. I do and I don't have issues with it because exactly I've sort of had the same sort of nitpicky, but again, now that somebody else is bringing up points, I feel compelled to be like devil's advocate and be like, well, no, it makes total sense. But I was like, there is the fact of so yeah, Harry and Ortega get to have their little chit chat, but as you'll notice, it doesn't go that well. They don't really come to an agreement on anything. So if it was just them trying to hash out the details, we would have been there a while. Whereas Thomas and Shiro can just be like,
Spoiler.
I know, but she already said them in the description, so by this point.
Yes,
that
they
5
obviously
chapter, it's
they
fine.
I know.
obviously are able to hash out the details a little bit better. It just seems a little funny to me that Shiro is like, while we're there, do what I'm doing for you. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
And that is part of it, but yeah, I guess exactly. Like, you know, Kincaid and all that, they're there to just be like, okay, let's get this down. So,
A good thing about Shiro, too, being, like, you know, this, like, elderly gentleman, is that Harry's, a little bit less rude and less to be like, fuck you, Michael. He's a vampire. I want him dead. Whereas Shiro, he's like, okay, yeah, no, I'll talk to him about not fighting. You're right. You are a wise old man, and I will listen to you.
okay, but in all fairness, when Ortega showed up, Harry was like, I don't fucking want to fight you.
Well, yeah.
He's like, let's not do a duel. And Ortega's like, no problem. Let me just kill everybody. And Harry's like, that would be bad. So I
As
do,
we'll learn later in this chapter,
Like,
Ortega's willing to take up the no fighting rule.
well, yes, to a point, but exactly. I was like, in all fairness, Harry did basically already say, I don't want this duel. And he
Yeah.
said it very clearly to Ortega, like, no, I don't want to do this. You're a lying, cheating bunch of... And Ortega basically bullied him into it. So, yeah, I guess, like you say, basically, it's just so that supposedly they can just cut to the chase and get through it without Harry and Ortega going off, you know, if they were doing a podcast.
So then we arrive at
Our alma mater.
McAnallys. And there's a quote here.
It's not a bar.
Are you
not
gonna
a
read it?
pub.
Yeah.
Sometime, wait, I say, not a bar, not a pub, sometimes spelled with a variety, but an old world style tavern. Sorry, folks. Taverncast just does not have the same ring as Pubcast.
Not quite. However, what is funny is that back when we were trying to choose a podcast name and we were coming up with several ideas, Tanzan looked up this quote through Goodreads, looking at McAnally's quotes or something other, and she was like, they're not a pub. They call themselves a tavern. That's not going to work. And I was like, it doesn't matter. It's
Doesn't
fine.
matter. And he does call it, like, a pub.
Yeah,
in
he
the first
changes it
book.
all the time, but I
Yeah.
specifically remember Tanzan being like, oh my god, can we even, it's not a pub, it's not a pub. And I was like,
It's okay.
it's
Oh, we
pub,
couldn't
it's
even
fine.
figure out the spelling because it just kept flipping back and forth to different references what we were using.
When we first started and we were just going off the ebook, yeah, there were so many misspellings that were like, how do you even spell McAnallys in the first place? We had to go find all of our print copies, like losers who carry books around with them.
Yeah, so just in case anybody wants to disagree, this podcast I'll be taken as correct, and Jim Butcher's completely wrong. Just
Should
in
he
case.
change it again?
No. His
should
writing
his
is correct.
opinion
It's the
differs.
ebook copies that didn't get transferred
I'm
correctly.
just saying, just in case he was any dispute, this podcast should be taken as
Yeah, right, you were wrong.
We should
Yeah.
be taken as the #1 canon source,
That's
first of all.
absolutely
And then
of
you can go to the
everything.
source material.
We-
but
we are
us
actually
first.
we are actually for the first time playing the douchebag card. Sorry, I heard we're not douchebags, but we're gonna
I
play it
thought
right
Jess
now.
did that every episode. The face.
Oh,
But that's okay, because in book 1 he says it's a pub, so it's okay.
It's fine.
so upon entering, Mac reminds Dresden of the accorded neutral ground sign and also his shotgun.
And
Message received.
I think I did this the first time. I'm going to say it's not a reminder.
So yeah, this is the first time that McAnallys has been declared accorded neutral territory.
Yeah.
Which is fair because, the last time we came to Max, we weren't in the middle of a war.
Right.
This is true.
At least, the readers, not necessarily Harry, but
Well, Harry's been
We
there a million
specifically,
times,
yeah.
but
Well,
yeah.
as far as we know, besides the fairy stuff, but I don't think Matt gives two flying fucks about the fairies.
well, not necessarily.
There
The
doesn't seem to
fairies
be
make
that
up
a lot
part of the
fairies that are
accords.
coming in for steak sandwich.
But that was fairy war against fairies, and it stayed fairies on
Right.
fairies. This
Yeah.
is the human wizards against,
Right.
and this is
this
the wizard
this affects
bar.
actually legit world.
The fairies thing was more like a civil war. Could potentially be more like a world war.
Yeah.
Well, and again, that's also in Never Never, not actually in Max Bar.
Well, and exactly, I was going to say they're coming here to meet. and
The
all that
fairy
kind of
thing,
stuff,
though, was gonna, destroy the entire world. Should it have gone? Because, natural disaster times.
So. Yeah, but then so
Point
what's
is
the
is
point
that-
of neutral?
Point is that civil wars don't affect the accords, and this does.
yeah.
And on top of that, the fairies, with all their intrigue and deception and, never fully saying what they're about, the fairies almost never even declared war, right? It was just a last-minute thing of, either we figure out what the fuck happened to our knight, or we don't, and then shit's gonna go down. But there was never,
Sudden shift in balance.
Mab kept saying she couldn't contact Tatiana, right? Or whatever the fuck you want to call her, Tiana?
Titania.
Titania, I don't care. point is like, she kept saying, like, she's not even answering my call. She won't respond to me. I don't know what the fuck she's thinking. So there was never even official war declared. They were just moving all their men to the battlefield on the off chance war was going to break out.
It was basically like, if we don't get our knight back, then boom, it's war instant.
It's boom and war.
Like,
but we're not actually going to do anything about it until the very
every-
last second, right? Which is obviously where Harry stepped in and did all the shit. The vampires have specifically been like, we are at war, we will kill on sight, and we have killed on
and
sight.
have been for a couple of years.
And have been now for a couple of years. Yeah,
right?
this
Like,
war was declared in book 3.
Yeah, and like you say, it all happened within a couple of weeks. Like, we started in June, and we had to be done by the summer solstice whereas this is exactly. So, yeah. So Mac is saying this is, so especially since you have specifically the warring parties meeting in his place, he's like, this is not a Western, do not smash my bar up.
I do find it entertaining that he does show Dresden the shotgun, but he doesn't do the same warning to the other parties when they enter. It's just more or less a nod.
That's an interesting point. That could almost be viewed then
I
as
know
friendship
you're a
to Harry.
Weasley little bastard.
No, it's almost more like...
I got your back.
Yeah, like, well, I've taken it to be a bit threatening and just like, hey, bitch, like,
See, and that's where I took it too.
I
didn't
liked you.
necessarily think.
But when you
But he
mentioned
gives-
too, like,
but
he
he also
didn't
gives
threaten
him a free beer.
Kincaid, he didn't threaten Ortega, he didn't threaten Ortega's second.
But,
So maybe it's a little bit like, hey, just so you know,
You're
Harry,
the baby on the block.
if they start shit, I'm shooting on sight. I'm giving you the warning now so that you
Yeah.
don't, and I don't have to shoot you.
Probably because he shoots the other people. It's not
There-
going to give...
yeah,
just gonna get up and
he
be
will
like, "What'd you
shoot
do that
Harry
for?"
if he has
well,
to,
that's
I'm
you.
sure.
That's true. Harry's the only one that won't recover from it. But at the same time, I don't know if he ever puts it away. So maybe everybody
Maybe
else
just
coming
leaves
in
it on the counter, but
sees
who knows?
it too or whatever. But yeah, for our benefit. But yeah.
But at the same time, like he orders a beer, and Mac does comp it, and he gives one to Shiro as well. And well, apparently
Yeah, for all you
Shiro
know,
is happy
that
with that
shotgun
beer.
was for Shiro.
I love that Mac knows Japanese. Like they just have like this little conversation.
Well, I
Still
know.
only
It's
a
like,
few
The
syllables.
ultimate man of mystery. Like I just love it.
absolutely right.
He is
little
the Dasucki's
James
guy.
Bond. It's like the tickle trunk. Like whatever he needs, he's got
Yeah.
it right then and there. And I hope you people all know
I
Canadian
don't always
Mr.
serve
Dress
my
Up.
beer warm, but
Mr. Dress
when I
Up.
do,
It's Max.
it's a dark ale.
But yeah, he takes the obligatory sort of polite sip, he's been and then he's like, ooh, wait, shit, this is good. And then yeah, him and Mac have this little, and this is the other thing I found. So I don't know if anybody else has read. There's another series called The Rivers of London by Ben Aronovich, something like that. So it's set in the UK and stuff like that, and surprisingly, the supernatural element has a lot to do with river things. But there's is it book 2 or something like that? Anyways, he goes to meet these other people, the main character on there, and they're like, the guy pulls out like this brown bottle with like an M on the cap, and like he's like, oh, I get it from like an American, and I was like, this is totally like just everything about
I
it
remember
screams
because
as a
we already tried to do this one. And
We tried to do
looked
this
at-
in
We
the
did
orig-
look it up, and we did confirm.
yeah.
I've got it
Same
right here for you.
universe. Yes.
In book 3, Whispers Underground. You'll like this beer. It's from a microbrewery in the States. The management brings it over a crate at a time. And he ordered 3 Macs and a Perrier. That's specifically what he said.
Perrier.
Perrier.
But yes, yeah, I love it because he had just say some like brown bottles and like the bottle cap or whatever has like an M on it, and I was like, oh,
And then on top of that, in the Alex Verus world,
the Alex verse world.
yep, Alex Verus world, the majority rely on word of mouth, though younger mages use the internet. I've even heard of one guy in Chicago who advertises in the phone book under Wizard.
Yeah.
Though that's probably an urban legend.
There you go. Yes.
Infamous even in other series.
In other series.
Love it.
Can't get
But
rid of that guy.
I was so tickled when I read that. I gotta go back. I think I got up to about book 4 or 5, and I think there's a few more of those. I have to go back to the.
That actually does remind me, and I'm really appreciating some of the suggestions that are Discord since our last our random ramblings episode. God bless you for listening to it. Oh my God.
Right.
But
Great, now they know how behind we are. That episode has come out and we still don't have episode 17 done.
4 times we tried. Okay.
We've justified it. But I do like the suggestions that we were getting, and do give more. If you're not really interested in doing any of the social media, we do also have our email, info@McAnallys.ca or info@freeflowrambling.com.
Or if you just want to call Tanzan at 555.
get fucked. I mean,
Oh my god. So I used to work for a printing company, and sometimes they were dumb as rocks. So I do get that there's a certain onus on the customer that we do up a proof and be like, is this what you want? And they're supposed to check it for errors and say yes or no. But we had one of my favorite is, I think I said this to you earlier, Tansby, you probably didn't care. Somebody was doing like a birthday poster kind of thing. And I don't know sort of what the inside joke or whatever, but basically what they had on it was, well, that escalated quickly or whatever, right? And had all pictures of Buddy. But as the person who like invoiced and sent this out, I wouldn't usually see this stuff until it was going out the door. And I'm doing up the thing for this, and they put, well, that escalated quickly. And I'm like, this is spelt wrong. And basically my company was like, oh, well, sucks to be them.
okay.
So that's why I was like, so something, at the pub, right, we had one of those annoying guys coming over and be like, blah, 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 and then somebody got pissed off, and I was like, well, that escalated quickly, but the other thing was,
555.
555. But the other thing that we did one time is we would do wraps on vehicles and things like that, and we had to put the company name and phone number. And so I guess the guys had given them like a proof, and I just put a placeholder number that was like 555, 555, 555 kind of a thing. And we printed that and put it on the truck.
Idiot.
Nobody figured out. I'm like, has nobody here ever watched a movie in their life? Like, I get if their number was like even like area code and then like 1, 2, 3, 4, but I was like, literally, the thing was 5, and nobody caught this, and we printed it, and it wasn't until Buddy came to get his truck and he went, the fuck is that? That's not our phone number. I was like, how
So
stupid are you people? Like, nobody thought to
Measure twice, cut once.
That's why some websites are annoying about like the you must fill in this box. Because I get annoyed about it sometimes. I'm like, just fucking let me move on to the next screen. I don't need to fill out every one of these goddamn boxes. But it's because there's idiots in the world. And if they aren't forced to specifically leave a field blank without explicit permission of leaving it blank, you end up with the dumbest shit.
Yes.
So, what I figured out when we were first setting up for our podcast is that one of the main podcasts for Dresden Files, we shall leave them
nameless.
Yes, not like we've basically said all the words that make it up.
Most people use a word.
The podcast about the topic of the Dresden Files that we will not name.
When you do a website, most people use a WordPress template. But my favorite part is like,
insert text here.
Yes. And they're like so fucking popular, and their website is every single post says insert text. Every single.
Tamsin's so funny. We wanted to do like we had 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 ideas
Canadian
for our
Tire,
podcast
not
name
Walmart.
before we settled on something, and before we like sat down and agreed what it was going to be or checked for availability. Tamsin went and bought the URL for all of them, and then we went out and found out like 6 of them were already operational podcasts, and we just owned the URL. And we're like, okay, what do we do now?
So me being the dickbag that I
Auction
am,
it off.
is that I just forward it to our own website.
Not our problem.
And they said we weren't douchebags.
You didn't buy the domain. I paid money for it. It's fine.
Yep.
Right? This
This is why I wonder.
2023. If you don't know by now,
We didn't steal their name
If you
for
found
our podcast.
our podcast by somebody else's domain, I want to know,
That'd
because
be
that
so
makes
funny.
my $7 worth it.
well, that was way back in the day when the Buffy site I was on. The original one was like jamesmarsters.com, because he didn't know he was going to be a big deal, and Zero, I don't know what their real name was, but they like bought that, and then all of a sudden it was like this huge big, and I think she was very kind. I think when she let the website go, I think she sold it to him then or whatever. But yeah, it was like, not our problem, baby. Like, you want a website with your name on it? Buy your name.
Really, my assumption is that if you've got a major podcast that is under a certain name,
Well,
you would own the domain.
especially
but that
the
is not
$7
true when
not
it
the
comes
case,
to
apparently.
podcasts.
Oh, they're my super cool podcast at gmail.com.
Don't worry, most of you, I have let all of your domains go. I'm too cheap to renew.
That first
And
year,
we-
though,
we
they were all ours.
I was going to say, we assume they're listening to us because theirs have all gone under now. None of those exist anyway.
I haven't checked recently,
We can't
actually.
make our own. We might as well listen to it, but I don't know either. But that is funny.
Keep drinking.
My cup says meow.
You think
The whole
Mac
point
ever
of
did
those ones
karaoke?
is that you get multiples and you can stack them.
Oh.
Makes sense now, right?
Yeah, I have an oddly shaped mug, but it's so they don't fall through each other.
You have half a cat on the top side and a head on the bottom.
It's like the TARDIS, only not. It's bigger on the bottom.
It's lovely. That was one of my birthdays.
That's how most wine glasses are. Fucking
True, but this is a mug. I'm not actually using a wine glass.
Right, but you are drinking wine, so it's in my head.
A large
that is now
coffee
a wine.
mug.
I can give you a proper
Receptacle.
wine glass, except it's plastic.
No, I chose not to have the proper wine glass because this holds more and is easier to grab.
Oh, you haven't
and
seen
do.
these cheap ass fucking plastic.
I have.
I'm shocked she's not drinking straight out of the bottle, quite frankly.
Yeah,
I wouldn't judge.
I forgot my extra long straw,
I've got metal straws there.
but not extra long. They will not fit in the double wine bottle.
Okay.
So Kincaid shows up,
Yeah.
and he does like the most douchebag perimeter search of the entire place. Like,
You know how I imagine this? It's like the guy, like some kid with like his finger guns going dun 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 dun.
fully like
I see.
Harry
Like
comes in
Get
and Harry's
Smart or
like,
something like that. Like
Harry's like, wow, there's normally a bunch of people here. Oh, also, Mac has a shotgun. And then
Kincaid's
Kincaid
doing like
comes
a
in.
somersault through
He's
the front
rolling
door.
on the ground. He's checking under the booth. He's going around all 13 pillars, making sure there's no secret passageway. He apparently he must clock Mac's shotgun and says that's fine. That's okay.
It's okay. It's Mac. It's Mac. He's got a little like Ghostbuster like photo track. What the hell? Photon tracker thingy.
Oh, EK meter.
Yeah. He's a
EKG.
little EK. No, that's what you keep getting
no,
plugged into. An EKG is specifically for like measuring your heart. The EK meter is for finding
All right,
ghosts.
all right, all right.
So, which you can
I've clearly
pass
experienced one more
for,
than
which
the
you
other.
can pass it for right
Which
about now.
reminds me, I found
An EK?
No. The best incense
Slimer
burner
looker.
I have ever seen. It's a ghost trap from Ghostbusters.
Oh,
and you
okay.
you put the
So it
incense
escapes.
inside of it.
That's-
So Slimer escaping over
it
and
looks
over
like
again?
Like it's glowing up
like
out of
like a
that.
freshly caught ghost. Where
That's
it
actually
smokes.
kinda cool.
Oh my god, it's so cute. The original website was at $60, but they were sold out. But Amazon had it for like $130. So I was like, oh no! I think that's cute. But
Wait
not
till
that
Prime
fucking cute.
Day. That is funny. Yeah, no, that
Yeah.
would be cute. But yeah, right.
So
And then, Harry lets him roll around on the ground, presumably, and is like, where's Ivy? She has a bedtime. She strongly believes that young children should go to bed at an early hour. Ivy's probably, honestly, the funniest person alive.
Well, she
And she knows every joke ever written, so... But she's really fucking funny, like...
I'm 10. I can get away with
I know
this shit.
everything.
She's 7. Come on.
Sorry.
I know everything, but as a 7-year-old, it's important for my brain to go to bed at 8:30, so I'm going to bed at
Which
8:30.
is fine, but didn't we already sort of establish she doesn't really need to go to school? She already knows everything, so I mean, she
Teach it.
Child development has nothing to do with school.
That-
Everything
oh,
to do with an
brain
early
development,
bedtime.
brain
That's
development, yeah.
great. Yeah, sorry, she's just early to bed, early to rise, makes an archive healthy, wealthy, and wise.
Ooh.
What?
She switched out one word. It's not that impressive.
I'm impressed. I am. I'm sorry. I'm easily
One word.
amused.
This is why we keep you around, just to strip it. That's okay. The karaoke hostess tonight told me I was adorable, so I'm happy. She said I was super cute. She's like, you are
did.
so cute. She's like, you're just so adorable. And I didn't even get up and sing because I can't. So, so yeah. Okay.
That's true. I don't think I've ever heard you sing anything karaoke. You've managed to get away with it.
Because I cannot, and I'm willing
I've
to
managed to even
accept
get
that.
Pat to do karaoke. He does really, really great Newfie songs. Get him drunk and he
I
is brilliant.
believe that fully.
I was telling Jessica today because I honestly thought she'd been out a couple of times. I didn't realize this was really only like her second time. I think she actually got up and sang. Although I feel honored because I've now
we keep
been there
doing
for
home
both
karaoke.
of them.
Like,
So is Tanzan.
Yeah, but anyways, but I was like the only
this
like
is
the,
why I know you can do more than just.
the like yeah right the one and only.
I can sing inside a household when the only people who are ever going to have to deal with my
Which we're gonna
tone
do
deaf
tomorrow.
singing.
In fact, I will record one if you want to. We'll do it. We'll do a whole thing.
No, but like, it's, no.
I do want to hear her do that one for real though.
She just amazed the fuck out of me. There's a Patter song. We'll see it.
Yeah, but anyways, the point is, the one and only time anybody has ever got me to go over, and again, this is not because I'm like, no, I can think, but years ago, my friend dragged me out because she wanted to go meet a guy or whatever, so we drove like 45 minutes out of town to like his little thing to go see, and they were like obsessively made sure the mic was turned on, because it was like wireless mics, so I had to have like a switch on them. I literally, like, the entire time, because she dragged me up there with her, I just made sure my mic was off the whole time. I knew that it was Earl has yeah.
Cheater.
Yeah. Oh, I'm like, I can't sing. I'm not gonna. I know
You're
I can't
always our
sing, and
worst.
that's fine. And that's fine. There definitely was worse people there. No offense. I mean, I absolutely do not care. Like, get up and sing and have fun. I enjoy those people
that's the whole
anyways.
point of karaoke.
That is the whole point. But the point is, I would not enjoy it. And I know I can't sing, so there's no point in me inflicting that horror on people when I am not gonna. You know what I mean? It does nothing for me.
So Ortega shows up,
Yes. Ortega enters next.
and he is looking like
He
he's
gives
got his
side-eye.
rouge powder gun and good.
Oh, what? Let's
His
start that again.
rouge powder
Sorry.
gun. What?
What?
He has applied his rouge.
To his
He's
knees?
like totally
the rouge?
rosy, and the blood is pumping right under the skin because he just fed.
I guess that's all she means. Is that.
Oh. I overlooked that when I was reading because I apparently didn't make any notes. on
I
it.
don't think that's really necessarily specific. I
My
think
notes
she's just
say
saying
Ortega enters next, who gives side eye to Shiro. Ortega gives a bow to Mac and a nod to Harry and Kincaid. So he's got respect for those two. But,
Okay, yeah, no, it does say he's
but
like
he gives the fuck off to Shiro.
he gives the fuck up. Yeah, it does say his skin was darker than usual, so maybe he'd
so
fed
that's
recently.
a good inference.
So
Oh,
It's a
I'm
little
sorry.
bit of
Did you think I just
inference.
made that up myself?
Well, I don't remember it, but I don't remember shit. So
Yes.
yes, I had forgotten specifically.
Ortega gives the impression that he has been having he ate
now
before
it's
he got
a
here.
good dinner. Sorry I'm late. Let's talk murder. Yeah. So then they're all like,
Where's your second, Ortega?
and who enters? But none other
Primping.
than
Just wait.
Thomas Raith.
We are officially a full cast. This is it. All of our we got Murphy now. We've got Butters now. Thomas is in the picture. Michael's in the picture. Sonya's here. Hello, everybody.
Susan's leaving the picture.
Well, Susan's been around, but like everyone who's got anything important
Mac.
to say and do has been officially introduced by chapter 17.
Da da da.
This is a solid cast, and even Marcone
Marcone
has been mentioned in this book and
Right.
briefly, quickly threatened. Or no, that's next chapter.
So this is a big
like that.
roundup.
Yeah, so this is great. It's like
So
almost
for
like a
you
victory tour.
newbies,
This is like
This is it. You will never have
on
anybody
Dresden
new
Files.
in this.
Not that we'll have nobody new, but
I
as far
know.
as reoccurring cast, with like
This is the main core.
2 or 3, like we'll say Laura will get there. Lara. But really, this is it. This is
That's
like
your next book.
this is our big 7.
Dresden, Murphy, Susan.
Oh, and Molly,
Mac,
obviously.
Toot, Molly, Butters,
We didn't meet Toot this book.
Thomas. No, but we have met Toot.
Yes.
You said buy this book.
Yes, by this book, but I'm specifically like they're all in this book.
Oh, not just okay.
Susan, Murph, Michael, Molly, Sonia.
More than 7.
That's 5. Thomas, Laura. We haven't met Laura yet. Don't count her.
Thomas, Matt.
You know what? Counting is so hard.
It's very hard.
Math. Fuck.
3:30.
Again?
In summary,
Yeah, by the way, it's
significant
3:30 now.
portion of reoccurring characters are here now and involved in
mentioned
this
that-
specific war, which is a good thing because, that's a big main part of the books.
Recurring characters, yes.
So thanks for listening to our podcast.
I have this fantastic book series. It has no characters, but
So I love how Thomas is like, how he's described is from Harry's perspective is more like Elvis or Michael Jackson. But to me, it sounds like Billy Idol. Like he sounds like Billy Idol. You've got the fishnet shirt, like and the leather, like that is like
Okay, so here's
white wedding shit.
Here is
Yeah.
a good thing about us having to re-record this episode so many times is that I actually have something to say now that I would not have been able to talk about the first 3 times.
oh my
Okay,
god, you got informed about something?
I did get informed about something, and I
What's funny
was
is that
I
we've
hope
been
you are
talking about
shocked.
entirely different shit every single time we record.
Yeah.
Entirely, like vastly different.
Except for the thing you said we talked about before. But other than that, all of it is. But no.
So the
I still got my notes.
first time that we talked about this, we dragged the shit out of Thomas, right? Like, his outfit is ridiculous and stupid, and none of us can see Elvis in it whatsoever.
Right.
However, I have now since watched Girls, Girls, Girls
Girls, girls.
with Elvis, right? And for the
I
first
see.
time in my life, I've actually seen why people found Elvis to be attractive at one point. That movie finally did it. I was like, I get it now. This is why people have crushes on him. I've only ever known Fat Elvis, right? And I understood,
Gotcha.
sure, he was a good
Velvet
singer,
Elvis.
and I've seen the picture of him in the army, but, like, I finally saw that movie, and I get it's a character, but I was like, I finally get it now. The outfits and the sex appeal and the Elvis his whole
young
thing.
Elvis.
Definitely not wearing leather or fishnets.
No,
But he was
but I would still talk to him had he at that point of his career, real early on. So I can see why now Thomas would then get away with it now. Okay.
But I still think.
In summary.
I need grandbabies. If anybody out there looks like Elvis,
Yes,
drop
Elvis,
a DM to
Elvis
Jess.
is a weird thing, but the whole popped white collar thing was very Elvis.
That was very, yeah, I mean, and again, we all picture sort of the leisure suit thing or whatever. Again, the sort of white leather and fishnet. I don't, so
I just think Billy Idol.
I have to assume that it's just because he's wearing like the white jacket and leather, that, maybe that looks like all the white Elvis jumpsuits or something like that. Not the fishnet specifically, but, yeah, I don't know.
It doesn't really ring Elvis, but
No, not to any of us, but there you go. I'm glad that you have finally learned why Elvis was appealing.
yeah, no, like because he wasn't ever at any point in my life until finally girls. I was like, thank you.
See, and I haven't. I'm gonna have to catch up to you on that one.
You'll
because
have to watch it because
I've never just been kind of meh on Elvis. Like,
same my whole life because I didn't get it. But I watch girls.
Then, well,
So Kincaid is a little bit of a bitch, and he's all like, "Can we get to work?"
well, no,
like,
I would.
but
I,
produces a crayon document.
Wait. Yeah, I would just like to point out too that Thomas is also not a fan of the denim jacket.
yeah. Team
Because
Thomas.
the only thing he has to say is, "Dude, where's the coat?" There was a woman.
There was a girl.
There's always a girl.
There's always a girl.
Amen, brother.
Yeah. So now Kincaid wants to get on with it, and as proof that he is there as Ivy's proxy, he has a document signed in crayon.
Right. Ridiculous. I love it.
Oh, I love it so
And
much.
I think this is more of her sense of humor because really, like, come on.
Like that
Surely
girl
she knows-
does not have a fancy fountain pen to do like calligraphy
Yeah.
and shit with.
Again,
right?
early
She knows
2000s,
it.
maybe she doesn't have like a computer and a printer in every home.
But she deals in magic, so she might not be able to use it. Same way.
Ooh, that's a question.
Interesting, but she's not.
She's a special kind
but
of
she's
magic.
not. Yeah,
Vampires
she's
get to
knowledge.
use it.
But how do you get that kind of knowledge in that
well,
all-encompassing
that's-
sense
that's the
without
thing,
being
though,
a
is
magical
like-
entity?
Yeah, I was gonna say, but isn't this the thing they had where is she a construct or is she because she's not a wizard and it's not innate magic. Harry has also said that anybody kind of can learn magic.
Yes, and
So
part
she
of the
can do magic. We know she prefers calculus. Weirdo. But so
part of
just
it
because she can.
was like, witches would grow warts and curdle milk,
But
and there was issues with that, right?
We also know that fairy realm will also fuck up cameras because in where the summer night when he was murdered, the first thing he asks is were the cameras all
a
fucked up.
big blast of power fucked it all up. But that's
Yeah.
not
So I have to assume that the
that's
Fae
not
will do
but
it too.
that's not fairy
I feel that's more
runoff. That was spells being committed in proximity of.
Yeah, I feel that's more because the knights are human and have power and beauty. Because the fairies themselves don't
They
necessarily
don't set up
fuck up.
technology the same way. Their
Like-
spells
Oh,
might.
so I thought they did. Sorry.
No,
I'm
yeah,
making a bad
no.
point then. Okay,
Yeah,
we
map
can
can
move
do
on from
shit,
that.
but-
So like human wizards
Yes, the reason
give
that
off like
we've
an
been given.
aura that fucks with it.
Right, and she's human.
And the lesser and lesser and lesser your power is, the lesser and lesser and lesser you fuck it. So any random Joe Blow could teach himself a spell, and he probably won't do too much to those still. The thing about Ivy's is almost a nurture in nature. She wasn't born with like wizard blood in her veins. She's almost got like.
But she has the ability.
But she's got
But
like
again, they were
she's like
created to be this repository.
Right.
So
She's like
again,
the-
so she has to be a magical creation to
back
actually
end of it
host
though,
everything.
right? Where it's like she doesn't need to go through. She doesn't need to like log onto her computer and open up Word to cast a spell. She just like
Well, she
is
does
the
it 'cause anything
computer.
that's been written down or whatever, she automatically knows. So she's just, all of those magic books and whatever are inherent. But this is the thing, and I think this is part of the conversation we had several episodes, which I don't remember what sort of our conclusion was. So cheers to us.
It was all cut from the episode, and no one else knows what we're talking about.
Exactly.
I don't know.
But again, is this one of those I don't know, grandfather paradox time, right? That Harry used the spell to suppress his magic so his magic wouldn't fuck up the studio. So again, is whatever kind of construct Ivy is something that is, again, not the same as the wizard, which, as you said, once upon a time, it caused skin problems and things. This is why witches are all warty and whatever, right? And it is morphed. There didn't used to be technology, so we didn't used to have to worry about wrecking technology, but it used to curdle milk, and now this is now how it manifests in our world, that a human wizard with human magic buggers up technology and stuff like that, right? So again, it leaves that question of what is Ivy, what is her magic, and
how does that manifest in the same way as everyone else's?
Yeah, and I mean, who knows? Maybe she can't. I cannot remember off the top of my head right now. I don't think they really ever give us.
I can't think of a time when she uses magic in a
place where she's interacting with technology or whatever for it to be. Yeah, so I don't know if her magic does affect it or not.
For me, the way I believe it, though, is almost like the rules don't apply to Ivy because she's not playing on the same...
Well, she's not a mortal wizard. Like, that's not
field
what
as
she
everyone,
is, so
exactly, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, if it's specifically a human issue, and it's specifically human magic, she's a human, but she doesn't have human magic. She's just... it's like, if you know literally everything, that you can just solve Einstein's whatever, or all these other impossible math questions, because you know already what's up, and all the everything that everyone's learned, right? You don't need to... I'm trying to explain it. Like, her magic it doesn't come from the same source, because it's like she just...
Harry, we know, because Harry started exhibiting, like Potter, signs of doing things before he knew he was a wizard and was trained as a wizard. So he had some innate abilities that he has apparently inherited from his mother and blah, 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 blah.
But she has to, because she says that she can do magic.
She can't, no, but...
She has to have some sort of innate ability.
But
not human
this is the thing
magic.
that Harry's, like, people can learn. We haven't seen a lot of it
Well,
yet.
she's just got the advantage is that she's already learned it by existing.
Well, yes, but that's what I mean, is she's learned it out of a book, because, somebody wrote spells down, so Ivy knows them, whereas Harry was born with magic in him, and that's why he can do magic. Now, it was refined and enhanced by somebody being like, I can teach you more spells, right? But that's the thing, is that Harry does say anybody can't, and again, he's like, anybody can learn, but you, me, Jess, fine, we might be able to learn how to... Okay, the alphas. They learned how to turn themselves into woods. They can't do any other magic. They are not wizards. They can't, it would take them a lot of time and effort to learn how to do anything else at hand, and they would not be able to do a lot of what Harry does at the level Harry does, because Harry is just a magical person.
This topic is breaking my brain.
It is.
I gotta move on from
Sorry.
this. Just, I don't know.
And,
talk about it,
it went too
amongst
far
yourselves
for
in the
me.
Discord or something. I don't know.
right.
Decide on your own, because I'm over. I don't know. I don't know. It broke my brain. I can't do this anymore.
That's
However the
fine.
fuck Ivy works,
Moving
we
on.
don't know.
So anyways, okay, so fine. So they get a crayon contract. They're all good with that. Kincaid takes Shiro and Thomas off to a corner to talk about it, so that the people that are fighting don't fight and bicker and drag this thing out all night, because he has to get home because Ivy's already in bed.
Well, he is the proxy.
Yeah. So they go to figure that out.
Meanwhile, Ortega and Dresden talk, and Dresden, following Shiro's advice, is like, okay, I'm gonna finesse. Let's get out of this
Finesse.
fight. Yeah.
Well,
Finesse. I'm gonna finesse me some hearth magic.
you know what? No. You know what this means is that you're very
My
well
daughter's
read.
semi-illiterate.
No. Listen, that's not okay. That's not okay. No, that means
She's a bully, right?
no. It means you're very well read, and
Very
you actually
well
haven't
read.
had enough talk with people that are well as read as you to actually correct you on how things are pronounced, and that's not your fault.
Yes. Yeah, it's not my fault.
I've tried.
Maggie.
Okay, see? Thank you. I am doing a service and letting you know for future use. This is how it works.
Margaret,
Mary.
That was not the
So
point I was
you do not go into a job interview and embarrass yourself by saying that
If I say the word finesse or finesse in a job interview, I'm already embarrassed.
But no, like if somebody says like a really
Stop
fancy
introducing
word,
her as Maggie. Introduce her as Margaret Mary, so people know that we don't respect her.
You just cut that. It's not.
Margaret.
Oh my god, I feel like you're giving me shit. So Harry ended up finishing his beer,
Daughter
and Ortega,
of Jeff.
Harry,
We'll just refer to you as that from now on.
Daughter of Michelle.
oh dear. Fucking high steps. That's how we're gonna put it.
You know, I've been a heisted for like 35 days longer than my mother has been a heisted. She's a whore.
You know I'm not editing this episode, right? Welcome to the drunk episode. And you know what? This isn't even drunk. This is just them.
We are like the Hulk, Tanzan. That is our secret. Why are we not drunk? Because we're drunk every episode.
We made that joke at the beginning of the episode
We
about
just
Tanzan.
pre-drink the entire
We
drive
just all
over.
have a problem.
I don't see it as a problem. I don't know what you're talking about.
So basically, Ortega's actually like willing to have this conversation with Dresden. He's like, listen,
He even buys them a beer.
he does. He pays for Dresden's tab, which Dresden needed that. Thank you, Ortega. You've saved him from financial ruin.
And he's not even shy about it, because I think you said he comps him a beer. I think you said Matt comps him a beer. He doesn't.
Yeah.
He puts it on his tab.
Harry turns down the
and
second
Harry's
line.
like, no, I've got enough on my tab.
Yeah.
So Ortega's like, I'll buy this
Bro,
one.
this is sad. I know I'm trying to kill you, but this is sad. Before I kill you, I should pay off your debts at least.
I will at least
It's the
buy
least
you
I can
a
do.
beer.
So he's telling Dresden, and he's like, you know, like, the war is going to be really bad for both of us. There's going to be a lot of death on both sides. There's going to be a lot of collateral that doesn't have to do with both sides. That's not fair to anyone.
And I care about the people. And I don't want them all to die, Dresden.
So,
It's not supposed to be that big a pause, but okay.
It's okay. I truncate it. It's always smaller than you think.
Excellent.
Harry, you know,
No, I hate to say that.
Oh, let's not traumatize her.
I didn't hear it, and I'm happy I didn't hear it. Essentially, Dresden comes out, and he's like, I can donate my blood to you if that's all you really want, like. And he's like, let's say,
You
like,
provide the juice and cookies.
once every 2 months. And if you go
Make
back
that
to,
not
like,
more.
if you remember, like, early on, in, like, book 1 or 2 or something like that, every time Harry bled, he was like, light some fire, dry this shit out so no one can have my blood and do anything against me. And
Yes.
now he's just like, hey, vampires, you want a pint every other month? Like,
But
here
in
you
all
go.
fairness,
Better than his death?
In all fairness, as long as they drink it right, then it's fine. He can't bag this shit and send it to him.
Okay. Yeah,
But
if they're like,
What if they
they're
wipe their mouths and like wipe
Yeah.
it on a napkin?
if Harry's
yeah.
like getting into like a barber's chair, leaning back every day, and someone's just like, maybe then. But like,
you're not gonna do, the only thing you get back in a barber
That's
chair
very
is a
much a power
Sweeney
play,
Todd. You should get your entire throat slit, in which case I don't think it fucking matters if they're using a spell. But I'm like, I'm sorry.
Really, we can't hold the vampires accountable for
I'm
this
sorry.
offer.
Since when did the vampires decide a barber shop is their best cover? Like, this is their front.
Worked for Sweeney Todd.
Yeah, no, Sweeney Todd, no.
I'm not saying they're a barber. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying they have the chair that reclines.
We all snorted. So let you snort.
We all snort. That's a joke.
Let this be a lesson to you folks. Don't shop at
I think
Lazy.
the alcohol is finally kicking in. Thank fucking God. Now it's an actual drunk episode.
Don't shop at Lazy Boy. It's owned by the Red Vampires.
Oh my God.
Yeah, for ease of feeding.
You know
They
what?
like-
Okay.
They
I gotta
market
pee.
that to breastfeeding mothers, but it's really for the vampires.
So
Brooke Shields is all like, I live in Lazy Boy. Well, no, you don't really.
So regardless of whether or not Harry is actually going to be giving away his blood or not, and they're arguing about whether or not, you know, this can end in a fight or some other way, Ortega fully admits, he's like, yeah. Bianca fully, like, backed you into that corner, but too bad, you got bested, bitch. Like, that's
Yeah.
not my fault. You killed her.
Yeah,
you got
he's
caught
like, I'm
killing
not
her.
saying you don't have valid reasons, but you still
Yeah.
crossed
rules
the
of
line.
engagement, you didn't do them.
Yeah, you know
Yeah.
what? You both fucking knew what this was gonna be. You both tried to trap each other, and you know what?
She played
you
a better game with the exception of dying.
she's dead, and you created a war. You know?
She won.
Who won? Yeah,
Besides dying, she still won.
yeah, right. But you know, death is a pretty big
I mean, personally,
You know.
she lost.
spot. Yeah.
But yeah.
So, Ortega's like, I don't want your blood, I want your serviceship. I want to turn you into a vampire. You can come and be a thrall and work for me, and everyone will be so happy that I'm keeping you.
With you.
You can be with Susan, and you can come live on my compound, and you can have a family there. It'll be great, and everyone will be so happy that you and me are just buddies again, okay? And Harry's like, well, I've heard a thing about you. Do you feed off of everyone? And Ortega's like, no shit, we feed off of everyone. That's the safest way to do it. I'm a responsible
And by everyone, he means children.
vampire. So yeah, the elderly, the children, everyone. They all get fed on because that's, you know,
Responsible thing to do.
responsible thing to do. The more people you can spread it out across, the safer everybody is.
Well, I mean, in some ways, like, if you think about from the vampire's perspective, like, and I think about this moment a lot because I know Harry's like,
Check, please.
Yeah.
I'd like to leave.
yeah, he's like, fuck that shit. He's really staunch about that. But I think about like Ortega's opinion on that, and it's really like, if you're hundreds of years old, what is 1 to 2 years? Like, nothing. You don't have concept of time after that.
To a degree, to another degree, like,
and it's all chattel.
Well, and this is the problem.
It is cattle,
this
yes.
is Harry's problem, is that Ortega does. Sure, it's all very reasonable and very logical if you're a 600-year-old blood-sucking fiend of the night.
I'm gonna make this douchebag sort of statement.
Devil's advocate.
Because I am gonna piss anybody off with this one. I'm gonna piss anybody off with this statement. But what makes a 3-year-old's life more valuable than a 21-year-old?
And the only argument there is that the 20-year-old has had a chance. The 3-year-old hasn't.
there's a level of innocence that, like...
20-year-old may or may not have done
like you
anything
said,
with
a
their life.
chance.
They may or may not have a chance to defend themselves.
And if you're a
$200
if you're a
I'm a $200 vampire, man, not a $2 whore.
if you're a 100-year-old vampire, like, that's nothing. Like, it doesn't fucking matter.
No,
That's true. And this
you're both
21-year-old
children.
this 21 has probably been in this compound since they were born and being fed off on their whole life. It's not in any way, shape, or form a mutually beneficial deal that Ortega tries to present it to be. Because he tries to say, like, I keep them safe and protected. I give them food, I give them housing, and all they got to do is give me a little bit of blood that's spread out between them, right?
So what if that 3-year-old
But that's not
gets leukemia?
But that's not what's happening, okay? Because it's not, they can't leave. They're not being paid wages. They can't go somewhere else. They all are forced to stay here forever. That's
How
where
is
the
that different from
consent
anything
is different.
we're doing?
I don't necessarily see, I think we had this discussion before too, and I will reiterate that I don't necessarily see it as that they cannot leave, that they are solely dependent on what Ortega provides. It's just Ortega does provide, so why go anywhere else? You know what I mean? I'm like, I can move to Saskatchewan and, you know, work in a bottle depot, but why would I if where I'm at is like, I will pay you thousands of dollars a month to do, you know
I
what
don't
I
agree
mean?
with you. I don't think that it is as easy as them just being like,
you-
well, I might as well because it's easy here, right? I think it's way harder than that to actually...
And I mean, that is potential because we have also, according to Susan's information, we are, you know, Honduras, South America, you know, things might be. But I mean, I don't know for sure. But I think it's more just the fact that he does provide, and because now, like, who knows what the first generation was like, but now the way things are, exactly, nobody sees
like,
a reason
the parents
to
are
leave.
consenting to this happening to their children then.
Why would
if
you?
it's like
Because
a
we
totally
just-
cool
we have
thing.
it.
Or
Because they've
if
been
the parents have no
indoctrinated
choice.
into that, right? It's like its own little cult type thing, right? So they don't see what's wrong with it. Not necessarily.
Point is, whether or not
you just make it sound like
those-
they all want to get the fuck out and they can't, and I'm like, they don't want to leave.
I'm saying that even if they want to, they can't. That's the point, is that the consent isn't there for a single one of them. You're saying that as long as they're 18, they've consented to stick around there. I'm saying no, at a certain point when your grandmother has been, you know, fed on since a child, and your parents have been fed on since a child, and you've been fed on since a child, the whole concept, like the Stockholm syndrome, is generations deep. Like, that's not consent. That's
I'm not saying it's consensual the same way. I'm just saying it's not, you know, I just don't feel like there's anybody really, they don't understand why it's bad, why they would need to leave as part of it. But
however you feel and fall about it, Harry has his opinions, and they're very strong, and he thinks it's completely bullshit, 100%.
well, yeah, and that's, I think, my argument is that, of course, the vampires don't see what's wrong with it. That's what makes them the monsters, and what makes Harry human is we have compassion.
Right.
We can think about others. We understand and should respect consent, and they don't. That's the whole thing, is that, you know, he doesn't see. And I mean, again, if you want to break it down to a very base, like consent is basically what it's all about. You know what I mean? Well, what's the difference between a 3-year-old and a 20-year-old? Well, a 20-year-old has lived life. They've had education. They've had life experience. They've matured.
Presumably,
No,
we don't know what the
that's-
compounds are like here.
Well, okay, but you know
No,
what I mean?
that's individual experience. Like, you could have had somebody that's 21 years old that has been locked in a room for 20
That's like,
years.
Yeah,
this gets a
and
little
we
bit too
don't condone
theological, though,
that
right? Because there's a certain point when, like, we just have to decide as a society whether or not we think that you're good at 18 or 19 or 21, right? Or 22 in some places in the world, right? And where we live specifically is 18, right? And we also have, in Canada, we've got the lowest age you can get your driver's license. You can get a driver's license at 14. in
learner's
Alberta.
license at
Learners.
14.
A learner's, but still.
And your driver's by
you
16.
can be
yes.
driving, which is every other. Can't get your learners until 16, which means
Yeah.
as soon as you can be driving is 17 with a full license.
Yeah.
Right? So we
Yeah,
for
just-
what reason did we decide our things? Well, for Alberta specifically, because we were so reliant on farmland, we needed kids to be working on the farm between their summer breaks. So we gave licenses out to children at 14 because it's like, you need to go work on your parents' farm right now.
We need to get
We
shit
need the
done.
hands. So that's why ours
And there's
is so much
nothing
lower.
here. It's just fucking prairies. Don't
That's-
worry about it. Dry.
Why our license is so much lower. But if you look at like
because
you-
our lifestyle and
at
our...
some point somewhere we've got to decide whether or not we're going to have an age. Yes, okay, the
Well, and-
vampires shouldn't be picking on anyone no matter what their age is, 3 or 18 or 20 or 21 or whatever. But at a certain point, you got to be an adult at some point. If you want to do it based off of brain development or bloody blue or you've stopped growing physically or whatever you got to put it somewhere.
Whatever your,
right?
yeah,
Well,
factors are for
I'm going to say
determining
that's
it.
something that's probably going to make me unpopular, but whether you're looking at it from prey or predator, I don't necessarily see women and children first. Like,
Okay, but...
I think it's all equal. Like, I
but
don't actually know.
Oh,
I'm not disagreeing with
this.
I'm not going to be popular
no,
in this.
but no. And I'm going to say this is where gender equality doesn't work in this sense, because if you kill off all the children, you have no population. If you kill off all the baby deer, there's no adult deer. If you cannot reach sexual maturity, you cannot propagate the species.
Kill off all the women.
If you kill off all the women, you cannot propagate the species. This is part of why women and children, because if the children don't live to be adults,
okay, I
you
will
don't
be
have a
honest, I've
society
never
anymore.
looked at it from that perspective.
so that is where, if you look at it from just gender
And you should also throw
age
into a
bias,
caveat that it's believed that the reason that men were the ones who were the hunters and gatherers first was because, same reason, the woman and the children could continue to keep the society alive without the men. That's why the men
the
had to
men
go and
go
do the
up-
dangerous tasks, because if they all died doing the dangerous tasks, society doesn't fall.
Yeah, women can only have so many children in a given
right.
time. Men can spawn 1 million. So,
all right,
yeah.
I will convert.
Yeah,
I
so
will
from that
convert.
point of view. But
From
anyway,
that point of view, yes.
But
okay.
even besides that, I fully agree with you that in this terms of in prey and predator, it absolutely doesn't matter whatsoever. That's why the vampires are feeding off of all of them and not caring, and that's why the humans themselves are not doing anything to stop it, because at that point, it doesn't matter whatsoever, right? As Ortega says, when it's all spread the fuck out,
everybody donates
everyone's
a little
getting
bit, nobody's
the
getting
least amount of
killed
harm,
the
right?
fuck
And
out
that's
every time,
easy
yeah.
to justify given everything else, right? Obviously, though, when you've got people who aren't in that situation and who are from an outside perspective and know what it's like to not be fed on by a vampire every day, it's a lot easier to call bullshit and be like, you're a piece of shit.
Well, yeah,
Hello,
and
Harry.
and again, this is the big thing where all of these, hero stories and da-da-da-da-da-da, this is what separates us from the monsters, et cetera, et cetera. Human beings have compassion. Human beings have understanding. Human beings are like, we don't prey on children for any reason, for whatever, and that's the thing, and that's what makes, exactly as Harry is the one who says, this is where we're different, but I mean, that's the whole thing, is that Harry wouldn't be a hero to us. We wouldn't have a reason to rally behind Harry, and Harry wouldn't have that distinction from being another monster with power if he didn't make that distinction, right? But Harry's got to protect some, and like you say, that line has to be drawn somewhere. Wherever you choose that reason, that's where that line is drawn, right? So,
And you should also mention, too, that this isn't an uninformed party being, making some Facebook status, right? Harry's been victimized by the vampires and was terrified as an adult.
this is true.
So he's got, as a 25-year-old or whatever, he still has nightmares, right? So for him to be like, I couldn't even imagine what it would be like to have only ever known that. And maybe the vampires are legitimately not and I would hope
Super creepy and scary.
aren't as creepy, scary, torturous as they were to Harry, because obviously Bianca had something to prove. But from Harry's perspective, that's the only version of a vampire there is.
Yeah, but then again, like you say, I mean, we've all been kids, we've all been freaked out by
Dumb shit too.
that, you know, again, once you mature, you're like, oh, I can't believe that used to, or whatever. We've all got our own.
Yeah, there's all been a storage
this
closet or like an under staircase that freaked us out as children that was
Exactly,
like had no reason
so
being
you could
scary.
Say, even if the vampires weren't going out of their way to try and be, I mean, exactly, like the first time you're like, here, this guy's gonna like drink you, you know what I mean? But we know also from, this is part of what makes them monsters, is that they're probably not being overly, you know what I mean? Is like the vampires are probably getting off on freaking some of these people out too. They're probably not making it the calmest, most gentle, serene experience for everybody either, right? They don't give a fuck. Like, fear tastes good. You know what I mean? So it's probably not that much of a pleasant experience even growing up in it. But yeah.
Either way, you know, Dresden does storm off because he's like, you're a fucking bitch and I hate you.
Yeah.
He
Fight.
can't abide with
It's
any
like,
of
I
that.
don't care if you buy me a beer. I'm not.
No. And then Ortega obviously does his
Friends off.
vow and he's like, I will kill you.
Yeah, he's very horrified by the offer.
Ortega's, you know, he threatens, he's like, I'm going to kill you, Harry. Like, that was your one and
was
only.
convinced.
That was your only chance to get out of this.
Yeah, the
Things are
only
fully
way
on.
around this.
So,
was
Shiro,
to
fuck your
join
advice.
our
Kill you,
side.
wizard.
Yeah. You can't beat us, just join us.
And Harry excuses him outside to basically hide his trembling.
Yeah. Yeah, he's all storms off in a righteous huff. He's like, basically, at least I know nobody knows why I'm shivering. I'm cold outside. But
And when you're gonna fight like that, you're also gonna have that adrenaline, but that's probably
That
sheer
too, but-
terror from the scariest fucking vampire ever.
that's true.
And I mean,
Most
think
of us
about just
can't
how
even get up
heated
and
we
sing
got ourselves.
karaoke without.
In a fictional, not relevant conversation, right? This is actually Harry having it, and it's like, yeah, bitch. So yeah.
Well, yeah, it's exactly.
Having a vampire in your face threatening to kill you and talking about how he, you know, tortures a bunch of other people all the time probably isn't fun, as demonstrated.
This concludes our episode 10.15, Unlucky Number 99. Thank you for listening. You can find us online at freeflowrambling.com and McAnallys.ca. There we have links to our other podcasts, social media, and some other fun tidbits. Please subscribe if you like what you're hearing, and please consider supporting us through Patreon to keep the magic alive and see more content, and we are poor-ass motherfuckers. We are free flow rambling. Conjure by it at your own risk.
And all that jazz.